Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sleep History, your guide through the sands of time tonight. We're gathered here under the gentle glow of history's lamplight to explore a tale of courage and rebellion, that of Spartacus. Born in Thrace, our story begins with a young man named Spartacus, far from the glories we now associate with his name. Captured and enslaved, he was brought to Italy, sold into servitude at a gladiator school in Capua. There, in the shadow of the arena, Spartacus honed his strength and skills. One fateful day, he led a daring escape, sparking an uprising that would echo through centuries. An army formed from former slaves, marching northward across Italy, challenging Rome's might at every turn. Tonight, we'll follow their journey, from the first embers of rebellion to the final clash on the fields of Lucania. As we embark on this historical odyssey, let us close our eyes and allow the echoes of ancient times to wash over us. Let's meet Spartacus where his story truly begins, in chains. In the hush of night, beneath the silver gaze of the moon, Italy lies bathed in tranquility. The Apennine hills undulate like the breath of an ancient beast at rest, their peaks dusted with a frosting of snow, aglow under lunar caress. Olive trees stand sentinel, their leaves whispering secrets to one another as they sway gently in the breeze, their silvered branches etched against the dark sky like delicate lacework. The air is cool and damp, carrying with it the faintest hint of wood smoke from distant farmsteads, where families huddle around hearths, their day's labors done. A Roman city slumbers nearby, its marble buildings casting long shadows that dance eerily in the flickering light of torches carried by night watchmen on patrol. The clatter and chatter of daytime have faded into a gentle lullaby of distant barking dogs, the occasional clip-clop of a horse's hooves echoing through empty streets. Far away, beyond these peaceful hills and valleys, lies another world entirely. A world where a man named Spartacus breathes fire and thunder, his very name whispered like a warning on Roman lips. Born in Thrace, modern Bulgaria, around 101 BC, he was a son of the Maiadi tribe, warriors renowned for their ferocity and skill. His formative years were spent amidst mountains that pierced the heavens, their peaks shrouded in clouds as if guarding ancient secrets from prying eyes. The forests of Thrace were vast, primordial, filled with the cries of wild beasts and the rustle of leaves bearing tales of old gods and older wars. Here, under the watchful gaze of Zeus, king of gods, Spartacus learned the ways of his people. He was schooled in the arts of war by stern-faced elders who saw in him a spark that could be honed into a blade. They taught him to wield the gladius with deadly precision, to hurl the javelin with unerring accuracy, and to withstand pain as if it were an old friend. But above all else, they revered Dionysus, god of wine, ecstasy, and liberation. His worship was not one of quiet piety, but of wild abandon, of dancing barefoot in vineyards under moonlight, of drinking deep from skins until the world blurred into a riotous dance of color and sound. For Spartacus and his people, Dionysus was not just a god, he was life itself, pulsating through their veins like liquid fire. Yet fate, that capricious mistress, had other plans for this Thracian warrior. Captured, perhaps as a prisoner of war or a deserter from the Roman auxiliary forces, Spartacus found himself shackled and sold into slavery. His strong body, marked by years of training in battle, caught the eye of slave traders who saw in him potential profit. He was purchased by Gnaeus Lentulus Batiatus, owner of a gladiatorial ludus, a training school, in Capua, Campania. Here, Spartacus joined other captured warriors, each brought low by the iron fist of Rome. They were chained together like beasts, their bodies honed into weapons, their spirits broken down to be remolded into something other. The ludus was a grim place, filled with the clank of chains and the echoing shouts of trainers pushing gladiators to their limits. It stank of sweat, blood, and fear, a symphony of suffering that played out daily under the relentless sun. Yet within this harsh crucible, bonds were forged between men who had known only war and slavery. They became brothers in arms, united by shared hardship, tempered by fire into something harder than iron. At night, the ludus was quieter, but no less oppressive. The air hung heavy with despair, punctuated only by the distant howls of wolves echoing through the darkness like spectral voices calling out to them from their lost homeland. But amidst this gloom, a spark of rebellion ignited within Spartacus's heart. It was fueled by memories of Thrace's wild forests and ancient gods, by the indomitable spirit of his people, and by the injustice he witnessed daily. He began to plan, to observe, to wait for an opportunity that might never come but which he would seize with both hands if it did. For Spartacus was not merely a warrior, he was a strategist too, honed on Thracian battlefields where cunning often proved more decisive than brute force. One night, under the watchful gaze of the stars, Spartacus made his move. With a handful of trusted companions, he seized their chance when it presented itself, a carelessly left open window, an inattentive guard. They slipped away into the darkness, leaving behind chains and whips, masters and slaves. Their journey would be long and fraught with peril. Pursuit was swift and relentless, led by none other than Crassus himself, one of Rome's most powerful men. But Spartacus had faced worse odds before. He knew how to navigate the wilderness, how to fight when outnumbered, how to inspire fear into the hearts of his enemies. And so, under the cover of night, they made their way northwards, towards the mountains that would offer sanctuary or death. The moon above bore silent witness to their flight, casting its silver light upon olive groves and hillside streams, guiding them ever onwards like a spectral herald trumpet calling them homeward. As dawn broke over Italy, painting the sky with hues of gold and rose, Spartacus paused atop a hillock, surveying the vast expanse before him. Below lay the winding ribbon of a Roman road, leading back towards Capua and all that he had left behind. But ahead stretched uncharted lands, filled with promise and peril in equal measure. He took a deep breath, tasting freedom on his tongue like nectar from Dionysus's own vineyards. Then, turning to his companions, Spartacus spoke but 3 words: "Let us go." And so began the legend of Spartacus, born under moonlight amidst the silvered olive groves of Italy, destined to shake Rome's foundations and echo through history like thunder across ancient Thrace. In the heart of Capua, where the air shimmers under the Mediterranean sun, stands the ludus of Batiatus, a grand yet grim edifice dedicated to the art of gladiatorial combat. The school's walls, stained with time and blood, tower over the bustling streets, casting long shadows that seem to whisper tales of valor and tragedy alike. As the day wanes, we find ourselves within the sprawling barracks, a cavernous space filled with row upon row of wooden beds, each one bearing witness to the dreams and nightmares of its captive inhabitants. The scent here is an amalgamation of sweat, iron, and the faint, lingering aroma of last night's meager rations, a testament to the harsh realities these men endure. Chains clank softly as they sway gently from the iron rings embedded in the walls, their echoes a haunting lullaby sung by slaves bound together by fate. Each chain is noosed around an ankle, granting its captive enough leeway to reach his bed, but not quite enough to escape the cold embrace of captivity. The nights here are filled with the collective murmurings of restless sleep, punctuated occasionally by the sharp cry of a man lost in tormented dreams. The ludus itself is a labyrinthine complex, its layout designed to confuse and contain. At its core lies the vast training arena, where the echoes of battle cries still linger amidst the dust motes dancing in the sunlight. Here, under the watchful eyes of Batiatus's overseers, gladiators hone their skills upon one another, honing bodies into weapons, minds into strategies. Spartacus, a Thracian warrior enslaved by Rome's insatiable appetite for conquest, finds himself among these ranks. His days are filled with the rhythmic clashing of steel against steel, the grunts and groans of exertion echoing off the arena walls like some grim symphony. He wields his curved sword, a relic from his homeland, with practiced ease, its blade cutting through the air as readily as it does through flesh. A small round shield, scarred by countless blows, serves as his bulwark against his adversaries' attacks. It bears witness to his battles, each notch and dent a testament to his prowess, his endurance, his sheer refusal to yield. His training partners come from far-off lands, Gauls with their heavy blades, Germans wielding massive axes, even Romans who once fought for the glory of the eagle now fight only for survival. Amidst this maelstrom of violence, bonds are forged between men united by chains rather than choice. They sweat together under the unforgiving sun. They bleed together upon the sand. They share stories of home and dreams of freedom, each tale a beacon of hope amidst their shared despair. Spartacus's life within these walls is not merely one of toil and torment. As valuable property, he receives sustenance befitting his station, hearty rations prepared by skilled cooks, medical care administered by knowledgeable physicians. His body bears the scars of combat, but also the marks of healing hands, testament to the ludus's investment in its stock. Yet it is not merely physical prowess that sets Spartacus apart. He carries with him an aura of quiet dignity, a sense of purpose that transcends his circumstances. This draws the notice of his fellow captives, none more so than his wife Eternum, a prophetess devoted to Dionysus, god of wine and ecstasy. She sees in Spartacus not just another gladiator, but something more, someone destined for greatness despite the chains that bind him. Her visions speak of a fortune awaiting him, terrible and glorious in equal measure. These prophecies stir embers of hope within the hearts of those who hear them, casting long shadows over their lives. As nights deepen into conspiratorial whispers, so too do thoughts of rebellion take root amongst the gladiators. In hushed tones, they speak of escape, of freedom fought for with bloodied hands and steely resolve. The spark ignites first among a handful of men, but spreads rapidly through the barracks like wildfire. One evening, as stars begin to pepper the velvet canvas of night sky, Spartacus stands before his fellow captives, his voice barely above a whisper, yet carrying all the weight of thunder. "We are not just gladiators," he says, eyes burning with conviction. "We are warriors, and it is time we fought for something more than spectacle." Whispers turn into nods of agreement, nods into plans meticulously laid out upon the dusty arena floor. They will wait until the next day's procession, when gladiators are marched through Capua en route to a nearby villa where they'll perform before local dignitaries. Then, armed with kitchen knives and meat cleavers, anything sharp enough to draw blood or cut chains, they will seize their chance. A wagon laden with gladiatorial weapons passes by on the road leading out of town. It will be their Trojan horse, their gateway to freedom. And beyond that, the slopes of Mount Vesuvius await, offering refuge amidst its volcanic peaks and valleys. Thus begins the greatest rebellion Rome has ever faced, born not within the halls of power, but in the depths of despair, forged not by political rhetoric, but by bonds tempered in shared suffering. It is 73 BC, and the stage is set for a tale of slaves against masters, of chains broken and fortunes rewritten. But let us not rush ahead, dear listener. For now, we remain here amidst the dust and sweat, the echoes of steel on steel, the whispered hopes of men who dare to dream of freedom. Let the scene unfold before you, as richly detailed as an ancient tapestry, inviting you to lose yourself within its folds. Allow your mind's eye to paint each stroke, to breathe life into these moments frozen in time. As we drift towards sleep, let us leave Spartacus and his brethren here amidst their plans, their hopes, their dreams. Let the candle flicker beside us, casting shadows that dance like gladiators upon the walls of our consciousness. And as we surrender to slumber's embrace, may we too find ourselves walking alongside these men, sharing their journey towards liberation, one chain at a time. In the shadow of Vesuvius, a mountain slumbering beneath its cloak of verdant vineyards and ancient forests, there gathered a motley assembly of men. These were not kings or conquerors, but escaped slaves who had thrown off their chains and sought refuge in the wild embrace of the hillside. Here, amidst the tangled roots and gnarled trunks, they found solace and strength. For Vesuvius, though dormant, was no less a titan than those who once held them captive. The air was heavy with the scent of earth and crushed olives, as if the very mountain breathed out its fertile heart. The first arrivals, Spartacus and his companions, had sought shelter here after their daring escape from the ludus gladiatorius in Capua, but they were soon joined by others, farmhands who knew the taste of earth on their fingers, shepherds whose voices echoed through the hillsides, household servants who bore the marks of their former master's lashes, miners whose hands were stained with silver and calloused from picks. They came in ones and twos at first, then in groups of 10 or 20. Each new arrival brought news of more who followed behind them, drawn like moths to a flame towards the beacon of rebellion burning bright on Vesuvius's slopes. Within weeks, what began as a mere handful had grown into thousands, each man bringing with him his story of hardship and hope. The Romans, meanwhile, watched from their marble palaces with contemptuous amusement. The Senate dispatched a small force under Praetor Gaius Claudius Glaber to blockade the mountain, confident that such a ragtag collection of runaways posed little threat. But they underestimated the desperation born of oppression and the ingenuity forged in its fires. On the first night of their siege, as Rome's finest slept fitfully around their campfires, something stirred high above them on Vesuvius's slopes. Invisible beneath the cloak of darkness, Spartacus and his men fashioned ropes from wild vines, testing them against trunks older than Rome herself until they held firm. Then, one by one, they descended into the night, their hearts pounding louder than any Roman drumroll. Dawn found Glaber's forces awakened not by the bugle call, but by screams of terror as thousands of armed slaves appeared behind them, having scaled the treacherous cliff face under cover of darkness. Before the Romans could rally, Spartacus's men were upon them, routing their ranks with a ferocity born of liberation. That day marked the first of many victories for the rebels, each one heralded by the echoing cry of Spartacus, ringing out across the mountainside. News of these successes spread like wildfire through Italy's countryside, drawing ever more slaves to Vesuvius's slopes. Within months, what began as a desperate escape had grown into an army unlike any other seen before, tens of thousands strong, bound not by shared lineage but by common cause and uncommon courage. By winter 73 BC, Spartacus commanded perhaps 70,000 men, the largest slave army history had ever known. At nightfall, campfires stretched out across the Campanian plain like constellations fallen to earth, each one a beacon of defiance against Rome's oppressive darkness. Around these fires gathered not just former gladiators and farmhands, but also philosophers who whispered tales of ancient Greece, priests who spoke of gods long forgotten, and musicians who filled the air with melodies born of sorrow and triumph. Here, amidst the flickering shadows cast by flames, they laughed together, wept together, sang songs of revolution until their voices rang out like thunder against Vesuvius's sleeping form. For though Rome might call them criminals, barbarians, beasts fit only for slaughter, these men knew themselves to be something far greater, free. Free to fight, free to live, free to dream of a world beyond Rome's relentless shadow. And so it was that beneath Vesuvius's watchful gaze, an empire began not with conquest but with hope, not with might but with mercy, not with gold but with blood spilled freely upon the earth. An empire forged in fire and tempered by love, its future uncertain yet its purpose clear, to challenge tyranny with courage, injustice with compassion, and fear with unity. As the first snows fell upon Vesuvius's slopes that winter, they did so not upon defeated slaves but upon warriors undefeated, their hearts ablaze with rebellion, their eyes fixed firmly on a new dawn breaking red over Rome. In the annals of history, etched by candlelight on parchment yellowed with age, the tale of Spartacus unfolds like a river carving its path through time. We find ourselves now in the year 72 BC, as the echoes of rebellion reverberate across Italy, and Rome begins to feel the sting of defeat. The night is our companion once more, wrapping us in its cloak of anonymity. The campfires of Spartacus's army flicker like constellations fallen to earth, casting dancing shadows on the faces of men who have known little but chains and hardship. The air is thick with the scent of burning olive wood, a stark contrast to the metallic tang of blood that has become all too familiar. Spartacus stands apart from his brethren, his gaze fixed on the distant mountains that loom like ancient giants against the moonlit sky. He dreams not of plunder, but of freedom, of leading his army northwards over the Alps, back to their homelands. Yet, the hearts of his men yearn for vengeance, for gold and silver to replace the iron they once wore. They crave the taste of victory, the thrill of conquest, and Italy lies before them like a ripe fruit ready to be plucked. Around the fires, debates rage like storms. Voices clash like cymbals, each man's words echoing his deepest desires. Some speak of sacking Rome itself, their eyes alight with visions of glory. Others whisper of turning back, of retreating to the safety of the mountains they have long called home. But Spartacus remains steadfast, his resolve unshaken by the howling winds of dissent. Two consuls, Lucius Gellius and Gnaeus Lentulus Clodianus, have been dispatched by Rome to quell this rebellious flame. Their armies march like thunder across Italy, their shields glinting like lightning in the sun. Yet Spartacus's rebels meet them with a ferocity that surprises even themselves. Battle after battle, the consular armies fall, their commanders humbled before the might of these once slaves now freed. The turning point arrives at the foot of the Alps. The air grows thin, and the path becomes treacherous. Spartacus's heart swells with hope as he looks upon this final barrier between his army and liberty. But fate, it seems, is a cruel mistress. His men, their spirits buoyed by victories hard won, but tempered by the harsh realities of their journey, refused to cross. They turned back, their eyes fixed once more on the heart of Italy. Rome trembles in its sleep, its dreams haunted by the spectre of Spartacus and his swelling army. Towns fall like dominoes before their advance, estates are liberated, and slaves join their ranks in droves. The rebel force swells to perhaps 120,000 souls, a tide that threatens to engulf the very city upon which Rome was built. The nights grow longer, the battles harder fought. Yet Spartacus's resolve remains unbroken. He is no longer merely a gladiator, but a strategist, a tactician, a leader of men who have become legend in their own time. His army, once bound by chains, now forges its own destiny with every step they take southwards. We tread lightly through history's pages, bearing witness to Spartacus's march without judgment or haste. For we are but travelers in this tale, guided by the wisdom of ages past and the gentle glow of candlelight. And so, we continue on, our hearts beating time with the rhythm of Spartacus's army as they stride ever onwards towards Rome. In the chill of a Thracian night, as the last embers of rebellion flickered against the encroaching dawn, Spartacus stood tall among his brethren. A year had passed since the first clash of iron in the arena. Now, the slave army that once danced on the dust of Capua was trapped like a wild beast at the heel of Italy. The air hung heavy with the scent of olive groves and the distant whisper of the sea, as if nature herself mourned their plight. The great Marcus Licinius Crassus had been sent by Rome to snuff out this defiance. Wealthier than many city-states combined, his coffers overflowed like the Lydian king's fabled golden river. Yet, it was not gold that powered his legions, but iron discipline and an ancient terror, decimation. Crassus had turned his own men into a weapon against Spartacus, executing every 10th soldier for cowardice or failure. The first time this ritual was performed, the dust of 500 lives mingled with the earth, a grim reminder of Roman law's unyielding resolve. Spartacus, ever the strategist, sought escape to Sicily. He hired Cilician pirates, promising riches if they conveyed his army across the sea. But men driven by greed are as fickle as the winds that carry their ships. With Spartacus's gold secured in their purses, the pirates sailed away, leaving the slave army stranded like wreckage upon Italy's shore. Trapped, Spartacus turned to face the storm head-on. His eyes, fierce and unyielding, surveyed the landscape. The toe of Italy stretched out before him, a land bridge connecting his rebellious heart to the distant promise of freedom. Yet Rome was no longer content to merely contain him, she sought to crush him utterly. Crassus's legions toiled under the sun, their picks and shovels carving a monstrous scar across the landscape. A ditch 55 kilometers long, from sea to sea, would become their tomb. Timber and earth were heaped high on either side, transforming the land into an uncrossable barrier. It was not just a wall they built, it was a message etched in stone and timber, Rome's implacable will. As winter's breath descended upon Italy, Spartacus made his move. Under the cloak of darkness, his men filled the ditch with earth, timber, and the cold corpses of their fallen brethren. They scaled the rampart, spilling like shadows into the lands beyond. For a moment, hope flickered like a candle flame in the frost-kissed air. But the winter was harsh, and the land unforgiving. The slave army, fragmented and exhausted, began to lose heart. Men who had once fought with the ferocity of cornered wolves now moved like hunted deer, their eyes haunted by the spectre of defeat. Their once unbeatable general seemed powerless against Rome's relentless machine. While Crassus's net tightened around Spartacus, another player stirred in the west. Pompey the Great returned from Spain with fresh legions hungry for glory. Rome's Game of Thrones was afoot, and Spartacus found himself ensnared in its deadly dance. Crassus, desperate to crush the rebellion before Pompey could claim the laurels, redoubled his efforts. His spies whispered tales of Spartacus's despairing men, their courage ebbing like the tide. Yet, even as hope waned, defiance lingered in those haunted eyes. They were slaves no more but warriors born of fire and blood, forged by unyielding will. As the final act of this tragedy played out, we find Spartacus not on some distant battlefield, but here, in this quiet moment before dawn, breaks. His hand rests gently upon the shoulder of a young rebel, a boy barely more than a child when they first took up arms together. The general's eyes hold not fear nor despair, but acceptance. He knows what awaits him beyond the next hill. Rome's iron fist, and Pompey's hungry legions. But for now, there is only this: the chill of the coming dawn, the scent of olives on the breeze, and the quiet dignity of men who have faced the wolf and lived to tell the tale. For in these final hours, Spartacus and his brethren are not slaves nor rebels nor even warriors. They are simply men standing tall against the encroaching night, their hearts beating steady and true like the ancient drums of Thrace. And so, as the first light of dawn begins to paint the sky, we leave them here, these sons of Spartacus, bathed in the calm before the storm. Their story echoes through the ages, a testament to the unbreakable spirit of those who dared to defy Rome's eternal reign. In the hush of twilight, as the sun dips low, we find ourselves amidst Spartacus's slave army, encamped near the Silarius River in Lucania. The air is cool, carrying whispers of spring's awakening, a stark contrast to the tension that grips each soul here. This is no ordinary night. Tomorrow brings a confrontation long in coming. Spartacus moves among his men, his presence a beacon amidst the flickering campfires. He pauses by each group, sharing words soft as the rustling leaves above. His voice does not raise nor rush, yet it commands attention, respect. Each man feels seen, acknowledged. This is their leader, their hope. A horse approaches Spartacus, led by a young slave whose eyes hold echoes of distant lands and lost childhoods. The horse, magnificent in the dying light, snorts gently, sensing the gravity of this moment. Spartacus reaches out, strokes its neck once, then draws his sword. The steel glints menacingly before it sings through the air, a swift, merciful death for the beast. "If we win tomorrow," Spartacus says, his voice steady despite the weight of his words, "I shall have many fine horses to ride. But if we lose," he sheathes his sword, turns away from the lifeless body. "If we fall, I will need none." The men nod, understanding. They know their fate lies beyond this river, beyond tomorrow's dawn. They know too that Spartacus will stand with them, not on horseback but as one of them, a soldier among soldiers. Night deepens, cloaking the camp in shadows. The scent of damp earth and wood smoke fills the air. Men huddle around fires, sharing stories etched into their souls, laughter born of desperation. Others sharpen weapons, checking shields, praying to gods they barely know, but hope might listen tonight. Sleep comes fitfully, if at all. Dawn breaks hesitantly, as if reluctant to bear witness to what unfolds. The air shimmers with dust and sweat, punctuated by the clash of iron against iron. This is no neat battlefield. It's chaos personified, a dance macabre choreographed by fate itself. On both sides, thousands fall like wheat before the reaper's scythe. Spartacus fights on foot, his sword an extension of his will. He moves with grace, born of desperation, each stroke measured yet fierce. Around him, his men fight too. Those who've known nothing but chains now wield power as if it were their birthright. They are not mere slaves. They are warriors forged in fire, tempered by hardship. The dust thickens, choking cries for mercy, swallowing screams of pain. Through this haze, Spartacus presses forward. He seeks Crassus himself, driven by a fierce desire to challenge Rome's general face to face. 2 centurions block his path. Their steel meets, sparks fly, but Spartacus's blade finds its mark first. They fall, clearing his way. But victory tastes bitter here. More Romans flood in, surrounding him. Spartacus fights on, even as hope bleeds away like the life from his men. His sword arm grows heavy, each breath burns lungs raw. Yet still he stands, a lone figure defiant amidst a sea of foes. Then darkness claims him. Not death's gentle embrace, but blackness absolute, swallowing all resistance, all thought. When consciousness returns, Spartacus finds himself adrift in pain and confusion. His body bears wounds too numerous to count, yet none seem mortal. He staggers to his feet, looks around at the carnage wrought by this day of reckoning. His men, most lie still, their lifeblood seeping into the thirsty earth. Others crawl, moan, beg for death's release. Spartacus knows then that he has fallen short. Rome will not yield so easily. Wordless, breathless, Spartacus melts into the chaos, disappears amidst the dying light. His body is never found, swallowed whole by this day's savagery. Yet even as night falls once more, his spirit lingers, an ember refusing to die. Silence descends upon the battlefield. The only sounds now are the soft sobs of survivors and the distant howl of jackals drawn by death's sweet scent. Rome has won, but at what cost? This victory feels hollow, tasteless, like ash in the mouth. Days later, along the length of the Appian Way, a grim procession begins. 6,000 surviving slaves are crucified, their bodies left to hang as silent sentinels lining Rome's most prestigious road. A message writ large in blood and bone: rebellion will not be tolerated. This is Rome's answer to Spartacus, her declaration that she brooks no challenge to her power. Yet even here, amidst such horror, history whispers another tale. For every man crucified, another rises within hearts emboldened by Spartacus's courage. His name echoes through time, resonating with each soul who dares dream of freedom. It ripples across the centuries, reaching those who would fight against oppression, inspire rebellion against tyranny. Stand now on the Appian Way beneath Italy's moonlit sky. Look closely at the ancient stones underfoot. They speak volumes of history endured, of lives lost, of a spirit unbroken despite all Rome could do to extinguish it. This is Spartacus's legacy, not in triumph but defiance, not in life but death. His name lives on because he dared challenge fate, demand freedom, inspire hope. As you lie here beneath this vast night canopy, let the echoes of Spartacus's rebellion soothe your mind. Feel his spirit rise within you, whispering strength, courage, resolve. Know that even when all seems lost, there's power in defiance, solace in resistance. Let this knowledge guide you into sleep's gentle embrace. Breathe deeply now, inhaling the cool night air scented with distant olive groves and ancient history. Exhale slowly, releasing tension, worry, fear. With each breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into tranquility, peace, safety. You are no longer amidst battlefields or crucifixions, but cradled by time itself, protected by centuries of wisdom. Listen to the soft rustle of leaves above, the distant murmur of wind through mountains, long since silent. Hear too the rhythmic beat of your heart, steady, strong, resilient like Spartacus himself. Let this heartbeat lull you further into slumber's arms, carried on waves of calm, safety, serenity. Allow your thoughts to drift away, like clouds dissipating under sunlight. Let them float freely, untethered from worry or care. They are no longer yours to hold, but belong now to dreamscape's vast expanse. There they weave tales of courage, hope, resistance, stories born of Spartacus's spirit burning bright within us all. Feel yourself growing lighter, softer, as if sinking into warm, welcoming earth. Your limbs grow heavy yet fluid, melting into the ground beneath you. Your breath slows, deepens, becoming one with night's gentle rhythm. You are no longer quite here nor there, but suspended in a realm betwixt and between. Here lies tranquility absolute, peace profound. Here resides sleep's gentle embrace, waiting patiently for you to surrender fully, completely. Let go now, dear listener. Let go of worry, tension, fear. Allow yourself to be drawn into dreamscape's warm, inviting arms. As you slip gently beneath the surface of consciousness, carry with you Spartacus's spirit. Let it guide you through darkness, illuminate your path when dawn breaks anew. Know that even in sleep's deepest embrace, his name echoes still, resonating within hearts brave enough to dare dream of freedom. Good night. Sleep well.